Hi there. Welcome to the Financial Advantage. We are powered by the Wells Funding Group. And today I'm super excited to be interviewing Chanan Dozier, who is the broker owner at Signature Realty Services. Chanan, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I've really enjoyed getting to know you here a little bit over the last couple of weeks, and super excited for people to hear what you're doing and how you're helping people in Illinois and Northwest Indiana.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, hey, why don't you let us know how you got started in the business?
Sure. So I purchased my first home at 19. It was called the Jungle. We nicknamed it the Jungle anyway, if that gives you an idea of the condition. Um, and from there, we had some rental properties, investments, things like that. And just had a really horrible experience, to be honest, at that moment. I always kind of had in the back of my mind that I felt like I could do better in serving clients than what I had experienced at that time. And
Okay.
eventually started to become a real estate agent. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you recognize that there was a need for um, for better customer service than what you received.
Absolutely. I just didn't get enough education. At the time I bought, I'm going to date myself or age myself, but at the time that I purchased my property, that was the as is, where is, how is, was what as is meant then. And we didn't know that we had a lot of rights to still get the property inspected, to know what was going on. The funny story about it is we actually had a Ferrari in the garage that was being
Wow.
stored there. The person, whoever had foreclosed on the property, lost it. And we didn't know, like, you could ask them to clean the place out. So they left everything, including this Ferrari, in the garage under this little thing. And literally the day after we bought it and we're getting in there, somebody came and hooked the garage, yanked the doors off, and took the car out when we were having an appraiser come the next morning.
Wow.
Yep. So
Man, so you had a Ferrari and then you got it stolen.
had a Ferrari, then I had an empty garage. So
Oh my gosh.
yep.
That is crazy.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and so I mean, I think that education part is huge.
It is.
Because it's not anyone's fault. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. So what are some ways that you and your team educate your clients?
Absolutely. Well, we start off by setting a really clear and realistic expectation. One of the things we do is we get an idea of what their budget is. Sometimes people are waiting on a pre-approval, but I always tell people, you know what you can afford. Your groceries may not be $300 a month. They may be six or whatever the number is. So
Right.
I tell people to have a realistic idea, like, what do I really want to pay for my mortgage before I go? So when I get to my lender, I can have a real conversation and say, hey, no, I can afford $6,000 a month, but I only want to spend two because I like to vacation or whatever it is. So we kind of set expectations that are real around what's going on in the market, and then we really navigate them through each phase of the process so that they know that they're in the driver's seat on making those decisions and navigating through.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because what we do as well is take that holistic approach, and we're not looking at just helping you get a mortgage to buy a house. We're looking at how your home ownership financing strategy fits in with the other things that you have going on, whether it's investment,
Yes.
401k, retirement, other investments. Do you have kids? Are you looking at private school? Are you looking at public school? Do you have, are you putting money in the in a 529 for your kids? And because it's really irresponsible, I think, to just say, oh yeah, you can go up to this, and not really, help people understand what that's going to look like.
Yeah, and I love that when we were talking, when you mentioned that before about, just like the overall financial plan, and a mortgage is a part of, like you said, that overall plan. But I love how you said you guys get into the kind of into the details to help somebody put together this piece of the plan along with the other components.
Right. And because I really look at it as, being a debt manager, and,
Hmm.
people have those, whether it's a CPA, a financial planner, or an estate attorney, maybe helping them with their assets out of the balance sheet. But no one's really looking over their shoulder going, what does your debt look like? And, people don't want to talk about life insurance because they want to talk about dying. They don't talk
Uh-huh.
about debt, but but my goal is to minimize the cost of borrowing over time, and ultimately see my clients be debt free and really work myself out of a job, so that they can really build wealth, and understand you know what all that can mean for them in the future, if they're not sending all their money to a car payment, a student loan, or a credit card.
No, I think that's a great idea, and it gives people like a holistic view of what's going on. So I think it's really cool.
So thank you. Yeah, very good. So so you obviously you have your own company. How long ago did you open that up?
So we are going on, I think, I must say, why don't I'm sorry, I think we're about maybe 6 years in now. Yep.
Nice.
Yes, yes, yes. Really proud of what we're building.
Nice. And so you've kind of seen the whole gamut of, a little bit what we thought was higher rates, and then all of a sudden everything went crazy with COVID, and then we realized what higher rates really look like.
Oh,
So,
really?
and
I was telling, so I've been a real estate agent for I think over 10 years now. I'm like, I think it's over somewhere in that range. But I realized too, though, that um, you know, being in it, you get to see like all of the things that we consider normal in different markets, and then you get to see it kind of level back out. And it's pretty cool to experience it, and then you kind of figure out what you need to do to just remain consistent in serving your clients.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And giving people good advice, which
Yes,
a lot of times seems to be, kind of going counterintuitive of where people are.
absolutely.
Because a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to wait until rates go down, or I'm going to wait until this thing. And it's like, well, there's a lot of people in that boat. And like, every 1% that interest rates go down, there's like another 5 million people that can now afford to buy. And so when that happens,
Mhm.
what do you think is going to happen to housing prices when that happens?
Yeah, and I tell people too, like the funny part was I remember I had a couple of clients who decided to wait. And they were like, I'm just gonna wait. And we saw a really great new construction actually that was
Mhm.
perfect for what they were looking for. And they were like, I'm just gonna wait. I think the rates are gonna go back down. I'm like, I'm like, historically, unless we have another pandemic really quickly run right behind this one, which we don't want, I'm like, they're not gonna hit those marks again. And came back another year and was like, okay, I'm ready. The property was 100, I think it was, no, it was $200,000 more for the exact same property.
Yeah,
And so it was kind of like, okay, you waited, the rates didn't go down where you thought, because that was not going to happen. They actually went up a little bit more, and then it even
right.
cost more. So everything went up. So I always tell people too, sometimes up doesn't mean that so if your rate does go down and the purchase price goes up, it's.
Yeah, your affordability is still problematic. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and we tell people it's like we can't, we can fix the rate because rates are cyclical. There's as the economy is doing well, interest rates tend to go up because
Mhm.
there's more pressure in that regard. And then you know pretty much really every time that we've had a recession, the last six recessions, we've seen interest rates go down. And
Yeah.
five of the last six times housing prices have gone up. The only exception is 2008 that people remember, but that was really because the housing industry was a big part of that recession. And so what normally gets us out of the recession, the real estate housing industry, was broken. But it's like we can, if rates go down and values go up, I can always fix your rate with a preferred client discount. But what I can't do is, if you wait until then, like I said, I can't get you back that equity. I can't get you that, house $200,000 cheaper because you chose to wait a year.
And that's the part where it gets sketchy. That and then yeah, just sometime opportunity. Like you
Yeah.
said, you can always refinance later. You can buy your rate down. You can do a lot of other things to make those adjustments. But even sometimes getting the house, especially if you have specific needs to request, maybe it's a certain acreage or specific style. I try to give people data on like, hey, there are only so many of these that are even in this town or this city
Hmm.
that you're interested in. So it's not like they come around all the time.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And part of what we're doing with our clients as well is helping, not only educate them, but equip them with strategies and really empower them to make a strong offer. Obviously, when it's within their best interest, but because again, what's best for our clients is number one. But at the same time, sometimes it's like, hey, do you realize that, if you change this up a little bit, you can make your offer stronger, keep your payment pretty much the same, keep your cash to close pretty much the same, and end up in getting the house, which is really the goal. That everything else can you can kind of work around, but if you don't have a strong offer or you're not super committed, you're just making offer after offer after offer, and then getting disappointed.
Yeah, I think that's the part, like you said, where it does take having the right team around
Hmm.
you while you're doing that, because when you have like a strong lender and you have strong agents that know how to negotiate and kind of work with everything, and then can educate you and make sure you understand it, they're able to look at all the different angles, that you can get what you want done. I actually just got my client under contract on a property yesterday,
Oh,
and we had
nice.
to get creative because the open house was within like the next morning, and we wanted the property. So we
Yeah,
wanted to get it before open house because it was perfectly what my client was looking for. So we were like, okay, what's going to be the strategy? But it takes having someone with experience to help you navigate and be creative and helping you get that done. And then of course was able to work in partnership with get everything done.
yeah, yeah. And sometimes it's even something as simple as an appraisal gap strategy. As
Yeah.
houses are going up in value, you know, as quick as they have been over the last few years, appraisers can only deal with what is actually sold.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of a lagging indicator. So you know, but if you're saying, okay, listen, I will, you know, offer you this with a $10,000 appraisal gap, then at least the buyer knows that they're going to get $10,000 more than what it appraises for. Look at even a modest appreciation, you may be giving up 3 or 4 months of the appreciation that you would have gotten. But again, once rates go down, we're going to see that appreciation go through the roof. And then, of course, we all know once you buy the house, it is a comp, so it is worth what you paid for it,
Mhm.
because now someone else can use that to continue the cycle of getting housing values to get a little bit higher.
Yeah, and then sometimes too, like you were saying, sometimes it's not even so much. Sometimes you can do an appraisal gap, or sometimes it's time frame. I think one
Yeah,
of the things I teach my agents too, and I work with my clients when I'm serving them, is understanding what's really important to the seller.
yeah,
Sometimes I need more time. Sometimes it's really I need less. Like keep the money. I need 2 extra weeks
yeah,
here because I need to do this, or I'm relocating, across the country, and I'm going to need to be here for two. So, just knowing all those negotiations, because sometimes people always assume it's more money, but sometimes
right.
that's not what a seller is looking for. And it takes having a skilled agent to be able to really do the extra step, go the extra mile, and find out what do they need past money.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that is, you know, um, when people talk about, well, gee, why should I pay to have a buyer's agent? That's exactly why you should pay to have a buyer's agent, because you don't know. I mean, and it's
Hmm.
and it's not your fault, right? We don't know, and you don't have the relationships where a great agent who does a lot of business in the area has relationships with other agents and can just have that frank conversation of, hey, my client really likes your house. Let me know what's going on with your seller. What are some things that are, and it's not like insider trading. It's just,
No,
hey, let's make sure with it, that we're making an offer that checks the boxes for your seller, because as long as it's a win-win, at the end of
that's
the
it.
day, that's what you want, and then it becomes a smoother transaction, and everybody's happy,
Yep.
and the sellers get to move on, and the buyers get in, and it's a wonderful story.
It is, and I think sometimes a lot of people don't even ask. They just assume,
Yeah,
oh, it's more money and it's more, and it's like, well, there's only so much more money. The property is worth what it's worth. And
Right,
so there
right.
comes a point you have to have more negotiation skills to bring to the table. And to your point, that's one of the many reasons why it's so important to be okay with compensating your agent, because it's so much you don't know. I think it was you, we were talking and you gave like great analogy about, like, if I were to go try to, I could fix my car and I could probably get on YouTube and make it happen, but how long would it take me to do it? Would I order the quality part? All of the nuances that just come with time and experience at doing what you do well, and just allowing somebody to do that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because the media is trying to tell people, oh, well, you can do this yourself, and it's like, but do you want an unpaid part-time job? And it's like, and you're not going to, you don't have the resources because, you know, r- like anything else, realtors talk. So, if you're simply relying on, what you're seeing on the internet to, to give you the best information, that's going to be behind. I mean, that house that you want might be sold by the time it even hits, one of the online portals. And,
Yeah, you
you
don't know
know,
what you don't know. You just
yeah,
don't know
yeah,
what you don't know about it. Or, you could be speaking like like I've sometimes worked with people who were like, this is prior to now everyone has to, but they're like, I'm just gonna negotiate it myself. And I'm like, you could be thinking that you're doing an amazing job negotiating, but it's so much you don't know about the contract and all of your rights and what you're entitled to and what's, I will say, customary, but what's fair, what's reasonable, that you could end up costing yourself money. And I actually had a client who decided to go that route. And it was brutal. Decided, I'm just gonna take this
hmm
property, quit claim deed, and I want to save some money and I don't want to deal with it. And they went, and it blew up later because you jumped out here, in this arena, back taxes were there. It was just all this stuff
yeah,
that, had you had the right support and work, you could have avoided a lot of this, or at least been aware of it. Even if you were okay with taking the risk, you at least,
yeah,
it's calculated risk and you know what it is.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's one of those where, you're investing a few dollars to literally save you tens of thousands.
It's
And
insurance almost.
yeah, yeah,
In a
yeah,
way. Mhm.
exactly. And, and you don't know, most people don't understand negotiation. Most people don't understand contingencies. And, and it's like, if you think that you're going to negotiate against, the listing broker that's been in the business for years and years, you're probably going to lose. It's like,
Every time and not even know you lost.
right,
To
right.
be
So
brutal.
what is the saying? Like, if you're at the poker table and you don't know who the sucker is, it's probably you. That's kind of the
That's real. That's really real. No, I've learned that myself. Like, it's a lot of things I could do, but the amount of time, it would just take me longer. It would cost me
yeah,
more. I'm gonna make more mistakes. And I could be focused on doing what I do well, while that's being handled by the people who do that well, whatever
yep,
that is.
absolutely, absolutely. So tell me about your team. What are you developing there at Signature Realty?
So we've got some really exciting things coming up for 2025 with regards to our agents. We're really, really big on developing knowledge brokers. Really big on agents that are very skilled at what they do, because that helps the agent, but it really, really helps your clients. Like, our brokerage is known for having amazing agents that write incredible contracts and offers. So interestingly, sometimes when people just see our name, they're like, "Oh, this is going to be a great, okay, okay." I can maybe put in a little extra word for your client and say, maybe it's not the best, but I know that this agent does these things beforehand. And so we've gotten offers accepted for our clients that way, just by the reputation of quality offers, quality communication, really being pleasant to work with, but still be advocating for our clients and things like that. So we're building on that for 2025. We do these really fun annual training retreats in Arizona. So we're going to be doing that again this
Nice.
year. We really spend a lot of time developing our agents and serving our community, because we feel like if you can develop an agent, you help a lot of families get into homes, feel very comfortable, because it doesn't have to be a super stressful, intense experience. It can be a very smooth, stress-less experience for you to purchase a home, an investment property, move from one to another, downsize, relocate. It just takes having a skilled agent to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't know, I love that term knowledge broker because, having access to, you know, all sorts of different people and all sorts of knowledge that, you're not paying anything more working with you as opposed to somebody else, but but we're giving more than what people expect.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. A lot more because again, a lot of times people look at an agent from the outside and you don't know what all goes into the background of all the stuff that's happening to make this very smooth for you. So they're doing a lot of working, negotiating, putting out fires so that you don't even have to experience those things is what a great agent does.
Yeah.
And a great lender too. They're doing all this. So by the time it gets to you, it's perfectly ironed and neat. And
Right,
everything
right.
happened in the kitchen, but when you got the presentation, it was well and it kept your stress levels down because that's what our jobs are ultimately.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. So what advice would you give to someone who's either a newer agent or thinking about getting into real estate?
I would say go for it. I know that of course everybody says, oh, because I'm not the one who tells people not to get into real estate. I believe that there are too many homes in America for any of us to be arguing or competing over a few of them. There are too many
Right.
houses in one city and nobody has it on all of them. So I always tell people to go for it, but be prepared to roll your snowball
Yeah.
is and I teach my agents that be prepared to roll the snowball. It takes time. If you stop rolling it at any point, you have to start over because snow melts. So you got to start over. So it's best to just keep it moving. It is tough at first to get it going, regardless of what Instagram Reels and TikTok tell us. It takes time to build momentum in your business, but it's well worth it when you do it because the other side is the other side of the hill when you're just riding the wave down, and you're enjoying the fruits of your labors. It's worth it, but it just takes time. So I would say just have real expectations that it's just like any other business that has to be built.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny that people will invest 4 years in college or, you know, master's, or, doctoral work, but then think, oh, I can jump into real estate and I'm going to make money right away. It's like, that's not how anything works. There's a preparation. You've got to learn. You've got to experience. Um, you know, mentorship. What would you encourage someone along those regards?
I encourage people, I would say you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I think to assume at any point, like I still to this day, as much as I know as many hundreds of transactions as I've done on market, off market, all the different types, landlord, investor, I am a avid advocate for constantly positioning myself to learn because there are things I do not know. And I feel like you can learn from anybody. You can either learn what to do or what not to do, but there's something to be learned.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I love that.
Every experience gives you that opportunity to be like, oh, I want to do like this, or I, want to avoid that for sure.
Yeah, but it saves you so much time. I think when you look at mentorship in general, you are paying to avoid roadblocks because
Yeah.
you ideally, when you're being mentored, is someone that has the experience and skill set to help you navigate some of those common roadblocks or pitfalls that would be in your way. And so I think mentorship is worth every dime. I tell people that I don't know if there is a dollar amount that is too much to pay for it because once you know something, no one can take that from you. And even if you fail, you can always rebuild it because you know what you know. So I think it's invaluable. I don't think you can put a price point on it. It's something that I invest in every year intentionally for myself. Even with what I do know, I always say there's more that I don't know because I haven't achieved everything that I want to achieve.
Yeah, I love it. So who are some of the mentors that you look to?
Oh man. So if I go podcasts, I would say I love Entree Leadership on the business side, Dave
Yeah.
Ramsey.
Yeah.
There's also this really cool guy. I was actually just listening. I'm looking at my phone so I can give this suggestion. It's podcast. This really cool podcast guy. He's like great for like a morning, just jumping your morning. It's the quote of the day show.
Okay.
And so he does this quote of the day. They are amazing. They're like 7 minutes. It's great while you're brushing your teeth, to get you get your day started. Um, that's a great one. I love professional development books.
Yeah.
So it's a great book called The Mountain Is You.
Okay.
And it's about overcoming self-sabotage, which is really good because most of us don't think we do it. So just keeps you in action. So some great books out there. Those are some of my one of my mentors. His name is Mark. Mark Johnson, and he's actually my current coach. Then I have had a lot of mentors over the years.
Nice.
Just because
Yes.
it's important to me. Yeah, I read this statement, and it holds true to this day, which is that your income never grows past you. So if you're not making what you want to make, then you need to check out your professional development.
Yeah, yeah, 100% agree. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean that whole that that we are um we're a combination of the five people that we spend most of our time with, and that can
absolutely.
be and that can be uh people on podcasts, people in books,
Oh, yeah.
coaches.
Oh, yeah. 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 No, it's true though, because your brain is a computer. What
Hmm.
you put in is what you get out. And that includes the people that you talk with, what you talk about, what you focus
Yep.
on. Like that's what you get out. You don't get anything out. And so I always look at the output, like, okay, what am I getting out today? Okay, am I frustrated?
Yeah.
Okay, what have you been listening to? Who you been talking to? What have you been talking about? Because this is not the output, but this is definitely what you're putting in.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, and it's cool to get other perspectives, to get that high level view. I think a lot of times that we can get kind of caught up in the, in the midst of the things, and if we can get back and get perspective, it makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference because it's tough. Entrepreneurship is not easy. Building a business is tough. It's so easy to get distracted and discouraged.
Yeah, yeah.
At all
Well,
times, I used to carry a TJ Maxx application in my bag. We used to laugh about it. Like if you
no,
got time to go somewhere and work, and throw your business away, you've got more time to put into your business. So
yeah, yeah, I love it. Now, have you always seen yourself as an entrepreneur?
yes, interestingly. So I've owned my own business since I was 8 years old. I used to own a jewelry store.
Okay.
With layaway, yeah. So one of my clients, not maybe 3 years ago, walked up to me with the little baggie that I had the earrings in, and was like, "I still have my earrings." I was like, "Oh, I couldn't believe it." But yeah, so I've always been an entrepreneur since then. So I've done a lot of things. I always laugh and say I'm a cat. I feel like I've lived 9 lives. But but yes, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've done some other things too. Chief of staff to a state senator, worked in
Nice.
the legal field, worked in actual financial wealth planning and things like that. So I have some of that background, been a loan officer and an investor and done a lot of fun stuff.
No, I love it. I love it. Well, and it's and it's nice that that lessons that you learn in one part of entrepreneurship can apply equally to all sorts of different career fields.
Absolutely. And me and my husband own pizza restaurants. So that applies too, which just means I'm a foodie. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. What
Mhm.
what are your favorite restaurants right now?
So I'm not eating meat anymore. So
Okay.
now I'm a pescatarian sort of. So I really love any place that has seafood. I'm really into Indian food.
Okay.
Um, love Indian. And let me see, Indian. And I would say I'm trying to get into salads more. They're not my thing. I don't like
Okay.
cold. I like hot foods. So that's my favorite right now. One of my favorites actually is papados. I love fish. So
All right. Good.
fish. So yeah, that's one of
Well,
them.
well. Good deal. Good deal. So how many people do you have on your team?
Right now it's 35.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, 35. So I'm excited. They're an amazing group of people to do life with.
Yeah, yeah, no, Illinois as well as Indiana, right? Is that
Uh-huh. Yep.
okay?
All throughout Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Indianapolis.
Okay,
Indiana. Yep.
very
So both
cool, very
areas.
cool.
Yep.
Uh, well, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been
Thank you for
a great
having me.
pleasure.
Me
Yeah,
too. Enjoyed it.
yeah, awesome. Well, I know there are a lot of people that would love to reach out to you, either talking about buying or selling or getting into real estate. What's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Sure, they can actually call me right. I'm gonna say I'm pretty simple. I will send it to my assistant though. If we need to schedule an appointment in real life, she keeps my life together. But it's 708 is my cell. I'm great with text too.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you.
Um, Yeah, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today to the Financial Advantage powered by the Wells Funding Group. You can reach us at 219-230-8400. But we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe on whatever channel that you're viewing this on, and give us a like. And even better, if you would, send this along, forward it to 2 or 3 of your friends that might be interested in being an entrepreneur, being in real estate, and making sure that your mindset is where it needs to be.
Right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.